Welcome to the show where experts teach all about welding knowledge within reach. Seasoned educators sharing their skill, helping you learn with passion and will.
And we're off. Good afternoon and welcome to another Weld-Ed Podcast. For those folks who are just tuning in, Weld-Ed is the National Center for Welding Education and Training. We're a National Science Foundation funded awardee that concentrates on preparing teachers and their students for the welding industry. Today I have Dan Turner, who is professor at Yuba College in California. He and I are going to talk a little bit about welding education and try to give you some insights into both Weld-Ed and the importance of welding education in the United States. Welcome, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Rick. Like you said, I'm the welding instructor professor at Yuba College out here in California. Been a welding instructor for 31 years now and a member with Weld-Ed. Yeah.
That's a long time, Dan. Have you noticed any changes in students over those 31 years?
I find that students are generally cyclical. There's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. Currently, the modern student, demands more online work. An online learning management system like Canvas was what we use. All my worksheets are online. The tests are online. They open and close. The students prefer that. I can't tell you the last time I actually ran a worksheet off for class. When I first started, we were still using the overhead projectors, and I was using vis-a-vis pens and writing on them and erasing. And so I think technology is the number one thing that's changed as far as students and instruction goes.
What type of jobs are your students getting, Dan?
That's around our area. We're really heavy ag manufacturing, orchard machinery, and also land preparation, discs and plows and things like that around here. I have a lot of students that will go to the local 228, which is the AU Plumber Pipe Fitter Union. Some go down to the 118 with the iron workers. We have a rail car making place, Siemens, that they go down to. I have some students. I've had one student. He's an underwater welder, going for his underwater inspection license back in North Carolina right now. And then I have some that chase the pipelines out in Colorado. So it's a myriad of different jobs. Mostly, if they stay local, it's in the ag manufacturing or the water board or working in some irrigation district. But it's mostly agriculture.
So how's your program structured? Do you offer an associate degree and certificates? And how many semester hours are required to complete those certificates or associate degree?
We have an introductory to welding certificate, an advanced welding certificate, and then we also just brought a new one on, which is called fabrication manufacturing methods, which integrates our manufacturing machine shop courses and our fabrication courses that kind of add on to the welding classes. The welding courses, that's introduction welding certificate is 4 classes, 4 units each, which is introductory to shield metal arc welding, gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding, and gas tungsten arc welding. The advanced degree has those 4 courses, but also the intermediate level of all those 4 subjects, plus machine shop classes, and a fabrication class and an automation class. And then we have an associate's degree that has basically all the courses that we offer, that they have taken the advanced welding certificate, plus all the general education. But there's some options of taking the hydraulics with it, taking some other machine shop classes, and then taking some drafting classes to get their associate's degree.
What industries or companies are most likely to hire your students? Do you have a specific company that hires a lot of the students?
We have had a few structural companies structural erection companies that moved to this area that the students are getting jobs at. Before that, they worked for we also have U.S. Pipe and Steel that are hiring some of our students out of there. But like I said, mostly the ag manufacturing. They get siphoned off to go down to Sacramento, which is about 40 miles south of us, for some higher paying jobs. And then up north of us, there's a couple structural jobs. And then they get on the traveling cruise. So they travel around America putting up buildings. Just found out one of my students is running a fabrication company the foreman down out of Sacramento, and they're putting the hospital in down at Mammoth Lakes, which is in Southern California. So they go all over. I can't tell you any one specific company where most of them go to, because it's so varied, and then the markets for the welders are all over the place. So,
about welding process, what welding process do your students like the most, do you think?
I would say with industry trends and everything, any wire feed process is probably the most popular. Pulse spray is probably one of the process that most of our students are getting into, just because anything over a quarter inch, and most of the companies around here are going to a pulse spray. Flux core, a lot of students are going flux core because they're going into the structural aspect of life. Stick welding is still pretty popular because that's what they qualify in, and they go into the plumber pipe fitter union. Every year I have handful, if not 10 to 12 students that go to the pipe fitters union, just because it's in town and we have a pretty good relationship with them. TIG welding, although it's one of the most popular classes, not a lot of jobs in our area that are for TIG welding. We do have some food processing plants that will hire occasionally for TIG welding. We also have some ornamental, like high-end metalworking shops that will hire TIG welders. But for the most part, it's just wire feed, solid wire, pulled spray, short arc, and then stick welding.
What's your favorite welding process, Dan? What do you like to weld with?
I grew up back when shield metal arc welding or stick welding was king. There's just nothing better than sitting there doing vertical up 70-18 and just hitting that slag, watching it all pop off. I think flux core is one of my most favorite processes, but I would say I MIG weld more than anything else in our fab classes, just because we have the sheet metal fab where we spend most of our time MIG welding, and then pulse spray. Just absolutely love pulse spray. So I've kind of all over the board. I just love just watching the slag come off the welds and seeing watching the beauty come out from underneath it. So flux core and stick are still probably my favorites.
When you teach, do you think there is a process that should be taught first before the students learn the rest of the processes? And how come do you think that would be the first one?
This is a debate that's happened since, I guess, welding began. When I was younger, it was start with oxy-fuel, teach them oxy-fuel, then move to stick welding and go all through, and TIG was held off at the end. I think that TIG, if you just start on TIG welding, it teaches a lot of process, a lot of control. That being said, I think that introductory MIG welding is probably one of the best ways to start students, because they can achieve success pretty quickly. It's the semi-automatic process. There's a lot less parameters they have to set, and they get pretty good results much faster. And I think the students with more immediate results or more immediate successes are more likely to stick around. So I think TIG welding would teach them a lot more, but I think MIG welding is the best place to kind of start the students.
Well, you mentioned a lot of different welding processes in what you've said so far. How does your college afford to have all those different types of equipment within your welding facility?
I chase down a lot of grants, a lot of funding sources. We deal with Perkins. We also have the strong workforce from the state. The companies in our area are extremely generous with donations. I spend a lot of time running around, picking up metal, steel. We go through, I know that the Lincoln Electric portal gives us a pretty good deal on consumables. I know that Hobart will match. ESOP runs a pretty good deal on their consumables. I get anywhere I can, I get donations. I just got a new truck, and then we also have a trailer that I can run around, pick donations up. Steel companies in the area, if I call them, they'll deliver a truckload of steel, semi truck. We just unload it, offload it. Tremendously generous community as far as donations go. The college itself is very, very helpful. My budget's pittance compared to what we normally need to run the program. So if it wasn't for donations and chasing down grants or chasing down funding sources, it would be a lot different story from my end as far as what we could offer.
If you had one particular grant that you thought would be the easiest for a new welding teacher to pursue, what type of recommendation would you give for that?
I would say start off at the school level and go find out where Perkins dollars are spent in the process for Perkins, because that's a career and technical funding source within the school. I know that the AWS offers scholarships to welding instructors. I believe it's up to $50,000 or $10,000, $50,000 projects for your schools. The Harbor Freight, if you need tools, will offer up to $5,000 for schools to get tools from Harbor Freight. I know there's other companies that offer scholarships or offer tool donations to your programs. It's just going out and finding them, or do Google searches, word of mouth, go to FabTech and start asking companies how they work with education. But I would say start off with Perkins on the local level, go to Harbor Freight, fill that out with the AWS Foundation sends that out. I would fill out that application. But that's a starting point. Once you get into writing grants, more grants will present themselves, because they're looking for success stories, and if you prove yourself as a success story, then it's more, I guess, for lack of a better word, appetizing for people that are giving grants to look at your application.
If you had one piece of technique advice for a new student trying to learn to weld, what type of advice would you give them about improving their welding technique?
First of all, never be afraid to ask for help. Second of all, get your head away from the arc. You don't need to weld with your helmet 3 inches from your weld. And then it's the first thing that you need that makes you a better welder is finding the arc, the puddle. Look for the puddle, figure out what the different parameters do to the puddle, the travel speed, the arc length, voltage, amperage, angles. Just lay down beads, but don't ask for advice on every single weld. Ask about every 10th weld, because if you ask for every single time, you may weld a bead that's completely different than one you just did, and they get advice that's just the opposite of what you just did, and it's kind of confusing. Don't be afraid to pull the trigger and weld a bead. Don't be afraid to just make sure your helmet's down, wear the proper protective equipment. But just don't be afraid to run 100 beads and then, ask for assistance, or ask, what habits have I developed? What techniques have I developed from doing that? And what are the suggestions from your instructor to help that out? Learning, there's a lot of really, really good information out on YouTube, a lot of really good places to find information, but not everything out there is true. And a lot of times, a lot of it's just clickbait for you to click it. So you have to learn to decipher that. But if you're an introductory welder, it's going to be intimidating, but just strike your first arc, run beads. It's one thing I really preach to my students is it's just time on task. The only way to get to be a better welder is by welding, getting critique, changing a little bit here or there, training your body what a good weld feels like, and what it looks like. A lot of times I tell my students, just go into the booth and just practice the bead without the machine even on. Watch how your hands are moving. Watch how the beads, watch what the electrode is doing, how the weld torch is doing. Learn how long it is. Teach your body, how, I call it the skeletal modality of welding. You have to teach your body what a good weld, like I said earlier, feels like. And if you run it through your head about 4 or 5 or 6 times before you pull the trigger, before you strike the arc, your body automatically kind of knows what to expect. And so it's easier for you to control what you're doing. So just time on task, and then run practice passes without the machine on. Just do it over and over and over again. And then like I said, just don't seek affirmation, and don't seek advice every single weld. Do 5 to 10 and then ask for help, because then you've established a pattern, and then we can work with that.
It's good advice, Dan. So how do you challenge your students to do all those things? What do you do in class that assures them and assures you that they will be successful as welders?
We do welds at every section that we do. We have a weld test where the students can check their progress. I do a lot of different pressure vessel testings where they will weld a weldment, and then we put it in soapy water and see if it holds air. We do some dye penetrant testing to where they'll weld the beads, and then we'll use the dye penetrant to see if they have leaks. But I find, and then we do a lot of braking. We do a lot of the D1.3 with the MIG welding. We bend fill welds and groove welds. We practice the qualification testing for the D11, where we build, limited thickness. We bend to 3/8 plates, and they get to actually see what's inside their welds. And just keep them motivated through showing them the progress. Like, here's the first one, here's the second one. When they weld, I tell everybody, you have to keep your very first weld and go put it in your locker, keep it, and then go about halfway through, we pull that out, and they get to see, and we do go run a bead. Now go get your first bead and compare. How much better have you gotten? And that tends to help the students see that they're actually getting better. The first weldments they do are pretty simple, and then they get more complex from there. And as they get more complex, the students kind of get into it a little bit more, because, they might have the first one leak, their second one didn't leak. And so they get that kind of fun. And then, it's just kind of a challenge. I do testing and group works. I use a randomizer online where I enter all their names in, and I hit enter, and it just spits it out right in front of everybody. And I say, all right, here's the plans, here's your procedure, go make this as a team. And it has the rules, 3-person teams. There might be an object where there's multiple of 3, like 9 to 12 welds, and then they have to do the equal welds, and then their grade is based on everybody else's. And then, so I like the competition value a lot between the students. And it tends to get the students more motivated to do better because they want to win.
So you got a lot of passion for welding education, Dan. What keeps you in teaching rather than going out to industry?
That's a question I get asked quite a bit. I just love my job. I still remember 32, 33 years ago, the first time I was in front of a classroom and I was explaining some theory, and I had a student ask a question and I answered it, and you physically saw a light, the the eyes dilated and the facial expression changed. You physically saw the subject matter penetrate into their brain, and they understood it, and you saw that. And that was probably what hooked me more than anything else. I love coming to work every day, and that's kind of what just keeps me here. I love the challenge. I love the interaction of the students, watching them learn. I love getting the emails back from the students talking about how well they're doing or where they are now, success stories. I think I really, really enjoy helping, being part of a community. I love listening and helping solve problems, where, companies, going out with companies and helping them with what they need, and just watching the success happen. This is just kind of where my passion lays, and it's just it's what I want to do. I always tell people, when this becomes work, I'll look for something else.
Great. So you're going to try to help some welding educators this summer. Can you tell us a little bit about what class you're teaching for Weld-Ed this summer, and when that class is going to run?
The class I'm teaching is a gas metal arc welding class, techniques and technologies. It'll run in August. It's a 4-day class, Monday through Thursday. And what we're intention on doing is basically teaching the technologies of gas metal arc welding, the new technologies, also teaching mild steel, stainless, and aluminum welding with MIG welding, covering all the metal processes, short circuit. We won't cover globular, but spray and pulse spray. And then running the instructors through the differences between a D11 qualification with gas metal arc welding process, and then the D1.3, the sheet metal. Running through, these are the qualification testing that the students could do with short circuit arc transfer, but with the D1 with the spray transfer, and then also teach them how to do some pulse spray on aluminum, and then teach them technique on stainless. It's a lot of information packed. We did a 4-day TIG welding training course last August. Very, very popular. I have little projects that you can take home with you to help your classes out, and that you'll actually be welding in the class, and we'll be doing testing in class also. It's a great deal. It's $49. It pays for all the training materials, pays for your food, pays for a hotel if you need one. All you have to do is get here. It's hands down probably the best training opportunity with Weld-Ed, not just here, but we also have them all over the country. And for $49, you can't find any better opportunity, especially if you're a welding instructor, because the training opportunities for welding instructors are not that vast. I mean, and we've been doing this since 2008, so it's a pretty good established training for welding educators.
Great, Dan. That's great information. And what I'd like to do is to remind our listeners that if they want more information, please go to our website, which is weld-ed.org, and it will give you the entire training schedule for the summer. And as Dan said, the National Science Foundation will pay for your lodging, it will pay for some meals, and you get all of the materials from the course, all the lab assignments, all the PowerPoints as part of the course. It's a great deal. And certainly when I first started teaching, if there would be an opportunity like the one that is given to us by Weld-Ed now, I certainly would have taken advantage of that to make my teaching much easier. So Dan, thank you so much for your time today. And we hope that you will continue your passion for welding education into the future.
Hey,
thank you all for listening.
Before we go, Dan, would you mind saying a few words about Weld-Ed and maybe the importance of Weld-Ed to maybe Yuba College or maybe in general the country?
Wow. Weld-Ed for me, I got it back in 2008. I got an email saying, "Hey, do you want to come present on Weld Camp to the National Welding Educator Conference at FabTech?" And I didn't even know what FabTech was, didn't know what Weld-Ed was, didn't even know if it was real. Thought that, oh, what is this? So I went and presented on Weld-Ed or on Weld Camp. And they kept talking about their vision. They kept talking about welding education. And I said, this is something I have to be a part of. This is something that I need to be a part of. So I became a partner back in 2008. One of the old guys around, I guess. But what it's done for me is it's allowed us to put together the teacher module series. We started that back in 2009 was the first time we taught those. It's given personally me a national stage presence. It's helped me be on AWS committees. It's given me recognition. I've taught classes from Fairbanks, Alaska to Miami, Florida, from Honolulu, Hawaii to Germany. The information that we provide, the student learning outcomes, the training opportunities, yeah, like Rick said on Weld-Ed, weld-ed.org, we have a ton of surveys, a ton of information. We did the work so you don't have to. The affiliate, the $49 is for affiliate members. We offer a Weld-Ed affiliate that your school could be a part of. It's free for you to become an affiliate member. And from that, it gets you the recognition of being a Weld-Ed affiliate member. We are a very big group. We're through this National Science Foundation. We're recognized. We're nationally recognized. And it's just it's one of those things that if you don't know something, you throw it out there. And I guarantee you with our network, we have people out there that know a tremendous treasure trove of information on almost any question you could have. So just, and also if you need help teaching, if you need anything like that, we're available to help in any manner possible.
And we could plug office hours too, Rick, if you want to as well. It's a good, maybe a good time to plug that since he's talking about personalized help.
Sure. Each first Wednesday of the month, Weld-Ed offers a program called Office Hours. It's an hour-long opportunity for welding instructors to video call in to welding instructors that are Weld-Ed partners to answer questions and get tips about welding education. If you have an opportunity to join us, please join us and we'll provide you with information about welding education, but we'll also provide you information about welding processes and how to handle and motivate students. So please join us for office hours the first Wednesday of the month, each month at 3 p.m. Central Time.
I think we can wrap it up. It was really great talk. Rick, would you mind saying a few words and we could end this?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yep. Thank you all for participating in our Weld-Ed podcast. We will continue to hold podcasts about once every other month. Please tune in to our Weld-Ed channel so that you can enjoy our podcast when you have an opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye now.